Hello, everyone. Welcome. Please make sure your name is your name in your school. Oh, Willow that just joined us. Hey, Willow. Hi, everyone. If you're just joining us, make sure you change your name to your name in your school. We're so excited to have you all, and we'll start in about 6 minutes. Hi, everyone. Hey, Jillian. Thank you for popping in. So thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to start in 3 minutes.
Sophie,
Yes.
can you make it so we can private message Mr. Jesse?
Or I will make Mr. Jesse a co-host. Actually, I can't. Miss Crystal, can you make him a co-host, please?
Yes. Okay. Julian, what? Okay, now I'm curious. Now I'm be all nosy. Yes, I can go ahead and make him a co-host.
And anyone that is just joining us, please make sure you put your name and your school.
Which makes sense. Snake is my favorite.
Reminder, if you're just coming in, please make sure your first name and then your school. Go ahead and rename yourself. If you're having trouble with that, we can always help you. Once we know who you are.
You go and play in your room instead. But we don't know what games to play.
Hi everyone.
Well, if you're just getting here, welcome. We're going to start in about a minute. Make sure you put your name and your school for when you rename yourself. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Activism is Our Power WeAPP event. Thank you all for being here today. I'm Miss Sophie. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a WeAPP teaching guide.
Hello, my name is Miss Crystal. I'm also a WeAPP teaching guide, and I also use she, her pronouns. I'm so excited today to have special guest Jesse Hagopian with us. Jesse, can you please wave? Thank you. Yes. So this is special. Well, I won't get into it. I won't spoil anything. But I'm also super excited because we have 5 amazing hosts with us today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves as well as what grade they're in, their names, and their pronouns.
My name is Eunice. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm in 5th grade at Dearborn.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm in the 5th grade at Dearborn.
Hi, my name is Miles. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm at the 6th grade at Mercer.
Hi, my name is Adirzak. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm in 5th grade at Dearborn Park.
Hi, my name is Nabil. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm in the 8th grade at Orca.
Let's start out with school shoutouts. Unmute your mic when we call on your school. Let's see which school is the loudest.
Do you have any South Shore scholars with us today?
I see some South Shore scholars in the house.
Do you have any Pathfinder scholars with us today?
Any Pathfinder? A verbal shout out or a chat shout out would work just fine.
How about any Orca scholars with us today?
Oh. Yes, Jillian. Hold it down, Jillian.
Are there any Sugiyama High School scholars in the house?
Last but not least, any Dearborn past or current scholars with us today?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hello.
Hello.
So, what is our activism is our power about?
WeApp's Activism is Our Power is a series and an event where scholars interview community activists.
Today we'll be discussing Black Lives Matter at schools.
We will start by going over our WeApp agreement, then play a quick icebreaker. We will move to our interview segment, followed by a free and end with a share out.
Quickly, let's review some Zoom tools that we need to keep in mind while we're together.
Please be on mute unless you're talking, so we don't hear any background noise.
Use the chat box to ask questions, write comments, give positive feedback, but please stay on topic.
Please use the reaction features to non-verbally share positive feedback.
Click on participants at the bottom. There should be a blue hand that you can click on to raise your hand.
Well, I'm going to pause real quick just to go back to those reactions. I know we're so used to Teams, and now we have made this transition back to Zoom. So I do want to quickly walk us through, Jillian, that was crazy. Walk us through how you can like show reaction non-verbally. So at the bottom of your screen, there's like a long panel with a couple of different options. There should be one that says reaction and it has like an emoji, little smiley face. Go ahead and click on that. And then you can do things like clap. Oh, Miss Taylor just put a heart up. What are the other options you have? You can do like a laughing out loud, super joyful. Okay, so those are things that the ways that you can interact with us, even with your cameras off. So we know that you're here with us, you're paying attention, you're loving what you're hearing. Okay, so let's use those throughout when it makes sense to. Okay, go ahead, you guys.
Lastly, this is a safe and brave space. We all belong.
This event will be recorded, so if you haven't signed your media release form, then please keep your camera off. We are going to play a quick game before we move into our interview segment. In this game, we will see who has the most in common with our special guest.
We will ask you a series of questions, and if you have done what was asked, put a finger up.
If your camera is off, put how many fingers you have up in the chat.
Thumbs up if you're ready to play.
If you have lived in another country, put a finger up.
Can you repeat that?
A little bit of time. Give a little bit of time so people can put their fingers up from the chat as well. If you have lived in another country, put a finger up. So you can just put like a 1 in the chat if you have that. Okay, Krista, Mr. Russell. Okay, I'm learning stuff. Rita.
Which one is 1 and which one is 2? What's the question? Is like 1 no or is 2 no?
Oh, we're not playing that game today, Jillian. This one's just like put a finger up if you have lived in another country. So
okay.
like 1 finger so far. Okay. Next question, we're ready.
Anyone who went to Garfield High School, put a finger up.
Okay.
So
Went
if you
there
know
or
anyone who went to Garfield High School, you can also put a finger up.
Like visited or like attended?
If you know anyone who attended.
Oh.
Miss Taylor says, boo, Garfield. Okay. So if you have 2 fingers up, you can put a 2 in the chat too. If you have 2 fingers up now, because you've lived in another country and you know somebody that went to Garfield, you put up a 2 because now you have 2 fingers up. So you can get to 5 the quickest.
If you know somebody who went to University of Washington, put a finger up.
Miss Taylor did.
Okay. If you have been to a protest fight for racial equity, put a finger up.
And repeat that one more time.
If you have been to a protest fight for racial equity, put a finger up.
Ooh, Mr. Russell's got 4 fingers up. Okay. Okay. Need some 3s.
you really enjoy sports, put a finger up.
Put a half a finger up.
Yeah.
If you love writing and do it outside of school, put a finger up.
Some future authors and writers in the house here today.
If you have ever been on TV, have a YouTube channel, or have been on a podcast, put a finger up.
Okay, Mr. Jesse's killing it right now.
Ever stood up for what you believe in when others were silent, put a finger up.
Miles, you put 2 fingers up.
Put a finger up if you're related to Jesse Hagopian.
No fair, no fair. No.
Each time you put a finger up, that represented something you had in common with our special guest, aka my dad. Thank you all for participating.
Go Huskies.
Go Bulldogs.
Boo boo the Bulldogs. Written
We are
in.
now going to move into our interview with Jesse Hagopian.
Throughout the interview, please put responses and questions you have for our guest in the chat. There will be an opportunity for our guest to answer your questions at the end of the interview portion.
Are now moving into our interview segment. We are so lucky to have Jesse here with us today. Grab your pen, pencil, and paper to take notes.
All right, so we're gonna give you all about 10 seconds. Go grab a pen and pencil and a piece of paper. And I see Jillian with that hustle. Yes, 10. Let's see it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Come on back. 3, 2, 1. Hold up your materials in the camera. Let's make sure that we all got them. We got paper, pen, pencil. I see Miss Taylor has her notebook. Oh, I see Jillian has hers.
Miss Sophie, old people need 20 seconds.
You're not that old. See, Mr. Jesse has his. Awesome. All right, Miles, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Jesse Hagopian, my dad, teaches ethnic studies and is the co-advisor for the Black Student Union at Garfield High School. Jesse is an editor for the social justice periodical Rethinking Schools and is the co-editor of the books Black Lives Matter at School and Teaching for Black Lives, and is the editor of More Than a Score, a new uprising against high-stakes testing.
Jesse serves as the director of the Black Education Matters Student Activist Award, is an organizer with the Black Lives Matter at School movement, and is a founding member of Social Equity Educators. Before we learn more about Black Lives Matter in schools, can you tell us 3 things about your identity that are important to you?
Well, absolutely. That's a great question. That's a harder question than I usually get from most media. And before I answer it, I just want to give all my love to the WeAPP family. I really appreciate you educators and mentors of these youth. You all have meant so much to our family and to Miles's experience. And oh, I wish I had WeAPP when I was growing up. I would have found my voice a lot earlier. And I'm so glad that all you young people are involved in this program that will help empower you to make change. And so I just really thank you for that. And 3 things about my identity that are important to me. I mean, you might tell from my bio that being Black is really important to me. But I do want to say and admit something painful to you all today, that I wasn't always proud to be Black. And I don't really talk about that very often. And it's hard to talk about. It's a painful part of my past. You know, school was really hard for me. I didn't do well in school. Standardized tests kept telling me I wasn't smart. And I internalized that. And because I scored low on these tests, I felt that I wasn't intelligent, and I was trying to figure out why. Like, why are my white friends scoring so well on these tests and I'm not? And I thought it must have something to do with my Blackness. And so I remember wishing that I could just be white like my friends that did well in school. And that was really hard for me. So it's been a journey to come to loving my Blackness and wanting to stand up and organize to help other people love their Blackness. So that is such an important part of my identity, and I'm so proud. And it's just such an incredible gift to get to be Black and to have the legacy of the contributions that Black folks have made to this country and this world, and the resilience and survival that we have had throughout the years, and the incredible humanity that we've brought to this world. So I love it now, and I'm really glad to be Black. The last two I'll say is being a father is a big part of my identity. You know, there's no greater joy I have than getting to be with my two boys. And you know, last year I helped my 7-year-old son learn to read during the COVID, you know, break from school, being at home. And that was an incredible joy. And then seeing Miles become an artist and a speaker and an organizer just blows my mind. And there's no bigger joy that I've had in my life than that. So I appreciate you, Miles. And it's just amazing to watch you grow up. And then lastly, right on. And yeah, I mean, watch you become a hip hop artist and a trumpet player and a speaker in WeAPP is just incredible. So then last, I'll say that being a teacher is a big part of my identity. And I think I have the greatest job in the world. So many jobs are alienating. What you do every day at work seems like it's just about making somebody else rich, and you have to be on your grind all the time. And I just feel so blessed that what I get to do is help young people love themselves and love their culture and learn about the power they have to make change in the world. Oh, I can't hear you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, like that you admire your kids and how you weren't unhappy with your race. How did you and others come up with the 4 demands for Black Lives Matter in schools?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's a pretty amazing story how Black Lives Matter at school got started, and everybody should be proud that this movement that's now national, that is being practiced in dozens of cities across the country by thousands and thousands of people, started right here in Seattle. Someone might need to mute. All right. Yeah, and right here at John Muir Elementary School, right? It started at an elementary school, and the incredible educators at John Muir Elementary School wanted to have a day to celebrate their Black youth, and they wanted to do it right at the beginning of the school year. And so they made shirts that said Black Lives Matter, we stand together, and they were going to high five all of the youth on the way into school. And unfortunately, there were hateful people that didn't want that message of uplifting our Black youth to happen. And so someone made a threat at the school. And it was made everybody very sad, and the school district wanted to cancel the event because they were afraid that it was someone was making a threat at the school. And so I wanted to help that school and show that we were amazed by their initiative. And so I went to meet with some of them along with other members of the social equity educators, and we passed a resolution in our union to have Black Lives Matter at School Day, where we called on every school, every educator to go to school wearing a shirt that said Black Lives Matter. And we organized, and we ended up getting about 3,000 of the 5,000 teachers in Seattle to wear that shirt to school, and many of them teaching lessons about institutional racism. And so the movement was born there. And then the educators in Philadelphia saw what we had done in the news, and they decided to take it from our day of action to an entire week of action. And then the following year, we all got together with educators all over the country and planned for a national week of action. And there we came up with the 4 demands. The first was ending zero tolerance discipline, because we know that Black students in the Seattle schools are suspended at 4 times the rate of white students for the exact same infractions. And actually, it's Black girls who are the most disproportionately suspended nationally, some 6 or 7 times the rate of white girls. And I think that that gets too little coverage. And then I would say the second demand is mandate Black history and ethnic studies. Then we say hire more Black teachers and fund counselors, not cops. And those were the issues that were pressing to the teachers all over the country that came together to organize for these demands. And you know, I could say a whole lot about each one of those demands, but for time's sake, you can go to blacklivesmatteratschool.com and learn more about them.
We are going to do a live polling. Please click on the link in the chat to vote on which demand you think is most important. Miss Crystal will share her screen and put the link and code in the chat.
All right, so we've done this in WeAPP classes. It's the Menti. So I'm going to put the link and the code in the chat. Miss Crystal is going to share her screen, and we're going to vote on which demand to you do you think is most important in your school.
Yeah, and I would like to add, Jesse, that we have spent the last week learning about these 4 demands and discussing it. So we're definitely getting to that. And then like Abdurazak and Sophie just said, based on the top 2, then we would love for you to go into deeper about those, like you were saying, about
Oh, great.
And
great.
let me say this, Ms. Crystal and Ms. Sophie, all 4 of these are extremely important. I don't know that they could be ranked in terms of which is most important, but I would say maybe what is most urgent in terms of schools, ones that students or parents or community members feel need to be addressed first, have the most urgency. Maybe we can do it that way, because they're all extremely important. That would be hard to weigh.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And maybe there's one that you have a particular experience with that you feel like is important because you've had an interaction that makes that one important.
Thank you. I've had people coming in and voting. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, it tells you how many people are voting. So it's just going to keep changing as more people vote. So go in and which one do you think is the most urgent?
Oh, wow. This is really interesting.
We have 6 of you that voted so far, and this isn't not just adults too. Please vote. Okay, we're all part of this community.
let's give about another minute or two to go on in, cast your vote.
This is also a good time as we're still waiting for votes to come in. We're going to do some, a lot of us have already done some writing on this, and that's what we're going to share today. If you did not have, if like you have not had, like you're a WeAPP alum or visiting from another school or a community member, you chose as your number one choice, perhaps like write down a couple of things about why you think that. What's the urgency behind that you think that this is the number one issue? So jot down a few things while we're waiting for the votes to continue to come in. They're all so close, which I think makes sense. So thinking about what would you put down if you're asked to describe this? Why did you pick your number one choice? What's the urgency behind that? Jot down a few ideas on that.
I think maybe we can go into our next question as some more votes keep rolling in, since will be about the 4 demands. Miles, how about you take it away?
All right, cool. So the top 2 answers from the youth are mandate Black history and ethnic studies, and fund counselors, not cops. What are you doing to make these things happen?
Excellent. This is a very cool tool. I'm going to have to use this in my own classrooms. No, this is great. Obviously all these are important, but I'm happy to speak to these two. So mandating Black history and ethnic studies is so critical because in the corporate curriculum that you mostly get in your standard textbooks, they often minimize or erase the contributions of Black people, of Indigenous people, of people of color. And so the great struggles and triumphs and full humanity of BIPOC people is just not taught in the standard curriculum. It's really sad. And then young people grow up thinking that people that look like them weren't integral and important to so much of what struggles for justice and what makes what we have that's decent, right? And so that's really what this demand is about, to make sure that every kid gets to see themselves reflected in the curriculum. And the benefits of that are very, very clear. Oh, and the first thing I want to say is that it was students and young people that fought and won ethnic studies in our schools in the first place. So in 1968, there was an eruption on a college campus, San Francisco State University, where they went on strike and they said, we're not going back to school until you have Black studies and Chicano studies and Asian American studies and Native American studies at this school. And it was a major battle. They brought in police. to fight with the kids, which is just unimaginable. They wanted to learn more. And then that was the response. But it was, young people, high school and even middle school, that took up that struggle across the country also. And now, since we've won those programs, they've been erased, they've been defunded and slowly rolled back over the years. But the advantages of ethnic studies are very clear. One, when you see yourself in the curriculum, then you're more likely to want to participate in school. And there was a recent study that came out that showed that when they implemented ethnic studies in the San Francisco public schools in 2016, that the grade point averages improved by 1.4 grade points, attendance rose by 21 percentage points, and class credits increased by 23. So we know that these ethnic studies programs are of an immense benefit to our students. And there is an incredible battle right here in Seattle to make this demand real. And there's been great educators like Tracy Castro Gill and Rita Green and John Greenberg and too many other people to name, and mostly a lot of youth in the NAACP Council that have been leading this fight. And we finally won the school district implementing an ethnic studies department, but we're still having to fight to make it real and to actually have them fund that department and implement it and make it a graduation requirement. And it looks like they're expanding it now to the Black Studies department as well as part of ethnic studies. So that's all really exciting work that's happening right now, and stuff that you all can get involved in and be part of and make your voice heard. Do you see yourself reflected in the curriculum? And if not, you can raise your voice and let the school board know. And then lastly, about fund counselors, not cops. That actually was a demand that we added the second year into Black Lives Matter at school. And it's because 1.6 million children in the United States go to a school where there's a police officer, but not a counselor. And 14 million kids go to a school where you have a police officer, but you don't have a nurse, a school psychologist, a counselor, or a librarian, if missing one of those, right? And so for us, we know that helping kids is about nurturing them, supporting them, giving them the wraparound services and the mentorship to help all students. And if students are having a problem or trouble, then we want to figure out what is the root cause of that problem. Instead of punishing kids for making mistakes, we want to help them learn from their mistakes and nurture and support them. And the police have led to more and more punishment of youth. So there's examples of kids who scribbled on a wall, something they shouldn't have done, but then they get arrested and charged with felony property destruction rather than learning a lesson from it and working with the school to repair the harm. And that's why we want restorative justice and not this punitive approach, because we've seen police hurt our kids in school and lead to more of the school to prison pipeline. And I'll just end by saying the most incredible thing about this demand is that it spread across the country, and it came right here to Seattle. And youth at Rainier Beach High School, Angelina Riley and Kiddis, started a petition to say we want the police out of schools. And they got 14,000 signatures on that petition within just a couple days. And they took their petition to the Seattle Public Schools and to the city of Seattle. And I'm really excited to tell you all that we won that, and the police were removed from the Seattle Public Schools because of that youth activism.
Wow, there's incredible change happening in schools.
Thank you. Because of where we are with time, I'm going to have us move up a little bit further so that we can get to our breakout rooms, and then we can do some sharing out. So Abdurazak, can you go ahead and talk about the breakout rooms? We are skipping down just a little bit to go to the breakout room free write and share out.
And Abdurazak, you are on mute, so you'll need to unmute yourself.
We are going to share out free write from class this week.
Oh, you are also on mute, Nabil.
In WeAPP, we use free writes to write and speak about what is in our hearts and minds without judgment.
Most of you completed the free write in class. If you didn't, feel free to write down a few thoughts to share in the groups.
The writing prompts is which demand is the most important to you. Please pull out your free write from class and either Seesaw or OneNote if you completed it.
Okay, so like we did earlier when we were doing the polling, some of you just jotted down some ideas, so you can have that to share. For those of you that have been in WeAPP this week, we have like more formal ones. So pull up your OneNote account where we did the free write, or in Seesaw where you have done a free write for that, okay? And if you didn't, you do have your notes from your notebook and pencil that you could use to talk about when we go into these groups.
We are now going to go into breakout rooms to share our free writes and receive feedback from each other.
For each breakout group will have a teaching guide to facilitate your group.
Okay, so with that, and Miss Sophie just put a reminder of like what the 4 demands are in the chat, so you'll have that to look at. And so I will be in one group. We'll just stay here on the main page, and then Miss Sophie will have a group and Miss Taylor. So we'll do quick introductions so we at least know each other's names, and then we'll get into sharing out. And then there'll be one person from each of the groups that comes back and shares full group.
So can you just high level tell us one more time? I understood we're going to hear free writes first. Is that correct in the breakout room?
Yes.
And then is there another step?
We're going to come back together full group, and then one person from each group will share out. And then after we do that, we're going to go back into breakout rooms to do one more group activity before we're done.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So with that, and especially adults, if you choose to listen, or you can share as well. Rooms are opening now.
Hi.
Hi, Eunice. Hi, Nabil.
My name is Eunice.
Eunice, and then thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. Hi, Eunice. Hi, Nabil. Did I say it right, Nabil?
Yeah, you did.
Wonderful. Hi, Miss Shannon.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Wonderful. And you are a teacher at Dearborn?
I'm actually a parent.
Oh, nice. Yay.
Yeah, Dearborn parent. So I just would love to listen in and hear what the students have to say.
Wonderful.
Taylor, are you a
My
teacher?
daughter will grow up to be using her voice like these young people are.
Absolutely.
Are you a teacher?
Say it again.
Are you a teacher?
So thank you. I am I'm the founder of WeAPP. So before there was
the boss of Miss Crystal or something?
I would like to say I'm the founder of WeAPP. You could say the boss lady, but those are also, we work as a team. So I hired Miss Sophie and Miss Crystal to work with you guys.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're a team.
So you have your own studio?
I have my own, this is my business. Absolutely.
I kind of want to work at WeAPP when I grow up.
I kind of want you to.
On that or marine biologist. So.
Do both. You can do both.
Probably.
You absolutely can do both. So as Miss Shannon said, we want to hear some of your free writes. Who's got a free write that they're going to share?
I'll go first.
Okay, so okay, Eunice, do you have one as well?
I don't remember. Did I have it?
Okay.
Yeah, I was about to ask like which seesaw part was it in, but then I just found it. So.
Okay, cool. So Nabil, start us off, and then Jillian is she's gonna be the last one for now, unless Eunice comes up with his. No?
Okay.
Cool. It's all right.
I chose fun counselors, not cops, because counselors are equal and we're trained to be equal and work with kids, and cops are trained to work with criminals. Counselors will listen to the full story and both sides of the story. Cops will judge you based on the main reason it all happened and won't even let you talk. Cops are like COVID-19 and counselors are like the vaccine. Counselors will come up with a solution. Cops don't know the definition of solution. All they know is how to fire their gun.
Wow. And if we do this, you guys know what this means. This means, yes, thank you. A clap. We're clapping for you, Nabil. Thank you. Jillian?
So I think the most urgent thing in the four demands is mandate Black history and ethnic studies, because white people and Black people and like all people, especially Black people, need to know the suffering history of like African Americans, and people deserve to know their background.
Absolutely. And it looks like we have someone else joining us, Azali.
Thanks.
Azali.
Can you say your name for me, please?
Azali.
Azali, that is such a beautiful name, Azali. Do you have some? Thank you. Are you 4th or 5th grade?
5th.
Wonderful. Was there something you wanted to share out as well?
Thank you.
Okay, if you change your mind, we would love to hear you and support you, okay?
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes.
So I definitely agree that cops can be like just racist jerks, and even more beyond that. But I just want to say one thing. I'm not like changing sides and defending cops. I just wanted to say that I do not think it's fair to say that all cops are bad. I'm not accusing anybody, because you can't judge someone because of because of their badge, because some cops are bad. So I think it'd be like some cops are bad, not all cops are bad, because you need to get to know the person before you judge somebody.
And I was just, thank you for sharing that, Jillian, because I wanted to open up for us to have some conversation about your thoughts and how you're feeling and the emotions that come behind it. So that's a great segue right into what Nabil wrote. Nabil, I would love to know, tell me your thoughts about why you wrote that and how you feel. And to Jillian's point, just because someone wears a badge, does that mean that there are good people who are cops? And then there are those who also give them a bad name. How do you feel about that? But let's start about why you wrote this. Where did that inspiration come from for you?
First of all, yeah, I agree with her feedback, and I think I should change the writing. I'll change it before we go in. But what was the other question that you wanted me to answer?
What inspired you to write that? Because I really love the comparison, like you said, of teachers being the vaccination and cops being COVID in many ways. Like that really was strong and hit home for me. So what
I didn't get
inspired?
inspiration from nowhere. I literally just wrote it. It came up to my mind and I wrote it down.
Yeah, I didn't mean like change your writing. I mean, I think you should like keep it how it is. I just was
okay.
Point like that was really powerful just how it is, and I don't think you need to change it.
Absolutely. And it's, it's always, all of our work is a work in process, and this is for everyone. And the more you learn about different people's viewpoints or even your own, you can always expand on it, right, Nabil? So it's left up to you. If this is how you feel in this moment, then you stick with it. But to Jillian's point, I do believe there should be conversation around because it's not, it's a lot of times it may be the person, it may be the culture they're in, it may be the community they're in that influences them. For us to have that conversation of what makes someone good, or the position they hold good or bad, right? And how can we talk about how we would imagine that position to be in our communities, how they can support us, right? So there's all types of ways you can journey into that and say, I think it's also important to think about how you would want your interactions with the cops to be, what that should look like, right? I would love to hear that from your viewpoint. So maybe as you continue to write that perspective, you can talk about that as well, how they're supposed to show up in your community and what their duty and role are supposed to reflect. That would be powerful as well. How can they also become a part of the vaccination instead of the pandemic? That would be dope. That would be cool.
I think Nabil should share.
I think you both should share. So Jillian, I would love to hear, where did your inspiration come from? What made you write your free write?
Well, so I had also done one on fund counselors, not cops. I mean, no, it was the hire more Black teachers, but I wanted to write a new one. And I think that mostly came from, well, I read this book with my teacher, Miss French, and like during when we were still in school, it's called Heart and Soul, and it's like all about Black history, and it's really empowering. So we got a copy, and that's kind of where I got the idea from. And basically, well, not me, but yeah, I think you kind of get what I mean. But just that it's very important for all people to know the suffering, racist Black history, not just towards white people, towards all people. Not, yeah, I think you get it. I'm not like trying to be like racist or whatever. I just mean like all people matter, yeah, but Black people are usually the most targeted. And so mandating back studies is really important for people to know their history and where they what happened, basically.
No, you're spot on. Conviction, speak with truth. You're teaching us. So never second guess yourself and how you feel, because you're teaching us. So this book was called Heart and Soul.
It's by Kadir Nelson.
I think if you would like to, you can also, that's another way to teach us. Bring that book up.
I'll go grab it real quick.
Okay, cool. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. And if you want to, when you talk about why you picked that particular demand, bring up Heart and Soul, because there are people who will want to read it because it could impact them and engage. They can feel engaged by it, but just the same way you were, which would be a wonderful.
This is the book.
Oh yeah, I've seen that in the
and there's so much pretty drawings, like beautiful drawings, like this. It looks beautiful, but it's the whipping tree. The slavery chapter, and then there's chapters. There's like different chapters about all the different periods, and then there's like big bands. So I think I don't know who this is, and then it goes on. So it's like basically like going on to the different parts in history, and then like the war, I think, times in World War II, and then in the beginning, there's like all of these photos of the story of America and African Americans, independence and slavery. This is kind of one of the saddest drawings in the whole book.
And what are we looking at? What page?
So basically, it's like the colonizers that came and took white African Americans and brought them for like slavery and stuff. And so it's like naked African Americans like tied to each other, and then white people kneeling over them with like guns and stuff, which is really, really sad.
Okay, so we're going back in the room, but if you want to, definitely educate people and tell them about Heart and Soul and how that was an introductory to you understanding more about the culture and heritage of Black people, feel free to do that as well. But I think you both should definitely represent our.
So we should both share then?
Yes, please. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. And I'll
go first.
Okay.
Azalee and
posters on my walls, like I
love it.
I have the We Who Seek Justice poster, the We the People poster, and then behind my door, because just got on is the We the Future End Gun Violence.
I love it. Do me a favor, Jillian, when you get an opportunity, research and figure out who some of those artists are, if they're local or if they're national. I think that'd be amazing to know. I know I would like to know.
Oh, there they go. Okay. Okay, Eunice, let's go ahead and go. Oh, you are on mute.
Okay. We are now going to have a few scholars share out their free full groups, and all of us can provide feedback in the form of glows.
Quick reminder, we are talking about our own opinions. We need to respect that we do not all have the same views. If you don't agree with somebody, here are some things you can do.
Here's some examples on how to respond.
Can you give more details for why you believe that?
Thank you for sharing, but I disagree because
I have never seen it from that perspective before, the way I see it.
Each group selected one person to share out. Please be ready when your group is called.
And let me ask one question of Eunice. Eunice, what is a glow? I've never heard of that before. You said we can share glows with people in the chat after we hear their pieces. What is a glow?
Nice things like.
Can someone share with me what a glow?
Yeah, a glow is like
positive feedback. Positive feedback.
Thank you. Positive feedback. Thank you.
Okay, can the scholar
from Miss Sophie's group please share first? Okay, and my name is Abdirazak, and I'm gonna tell you and the Black Lives Matter, what the things, and
Abdirazak, I want to make sure that we're spotlighting you. Is Abdirazak spotlighted? Just want to make sure that this, and
I'm getting there right now.
Okay. I think I just did it.
Yep, you did.
Okay.
Okay, and I wish there was more counselors, because if a Black person gets hurt, like because a white person said something about their skin, like because counselors give advice, so they can go to the counselor. It's good to have somebody to connect with, somebody that has the same feeling that happened to them. It's good to have somebody that went through the same thing you went through before. So that's why it's good to have more counselors instead of cops.
So we can put glows in the chat, and we're going to really just reserve any verbal glows for our special guest. So if Mr. Jesse wants to give any verbal glows, and then everyone else, please keep them to the chat.
I would definitely, I love this reasoning. And if you notice, it's something that we might need to add into the language of the Black Lives Matter at School movement, because we're calling for more Black teachers. But I think you make a great point that we also need more Black counselors, because students who are having problems need somebody that has been through experiences like them to help them solve the problems. I think you said that beautifully, and I'm going to bring that back to Black Lives Matter at School and let them know you said that.
Can a scholar from Miss Crystal's group please share?
Okay. And go ahead, Frida, and Frida, your choice about as far as camera, because I know that you have your media release form signed. Let me go ahead and try to find your name so we can spotlight you, or if Miss Sophie can. Oh, I think I found you.
Hi, my name is Farida, and this is my piece. I feel like to mandate Black/ethnic studies are really important, because when we learn about that in class, I feel a personal connection to what we're learning. Like one example is in my history class. We're learning about Chinese, Mexican, and Somali immigration, and I felt connected to that because my mother immigrated, and I'm able to talk about my culture and ethnicity. And when you're able to connect with what you're learning, you'll learn better. I also feel like ending zero tolerance is really important because listening to a person is really important. Because if someone came to school with something they shouldn't, they should explain themselves and get told why they shouldn't do that thing, then given reasonable consequences.
Excellent. That's so wonderful that you're learning about your own culture in school. And it's just so harmful. Like I never got to, I only learned about slavery. The only time I got to learn about Black people was when we learned about slavery. And it made me think that that was the only thing that Black people did in this country was be slaves. And in fact, all the beautiful movements that we've created to make a more just society, so much of that was left out. So that's great.
The scholars from Miss Taylor's group, please share.
Sure. So first we're going to have Nabil share, and then ours were really short. Jillian wanted to share as well because her thoughts were really powerful as well. So, and Nabil, can you hold your screen up a little more so we're not looking up at you? I love it. Thank you.
Okay. I chose to fund counselors, not cops, because counselors were taught to be equal and were also taught to work with kids, and cops were taught and trained to work with criminals. Counselors will listen to the full story and both sides of the story. Cops will just judge you based on the main reason it all happened and won't let you talk. Cops are like COVID-19 and counselors are like the vaccine. Counselors will come up with a solution. Cops don't know the definition of solution. They just know how to fire their gun. And to add on, not all cops are like this, just some of them.
Thank you, Nabil. And next we'll have Jillian.
Hi. Yeah. I'm just. Okay. So I think the most urgent thing in the four demands is mandate Black history and ethnic studies because Black people and white people need to know the suffering racist history, and people deserve to know their background. And I just wanted to share, since we brought it up in our breakout room, I recommend this book to everybody here. It's called Heart and Soul, and it's about the story of America and African Americans by Kadira Nelson, and it's his art, and it's really beautiful, and it's like breathtaking. It's so good, and I just recommend it to everybody.
So, Mr. Jesse, if you want to give Nabil some grows as well as Jillian, we would really appreciate it from our group.
Oh, absolutely. Those were such important observations that the role of counselors is to help people. And unfortunately, the long history of policing in this country has been mostly about punishing people. And so the fact that you already understand that is beautiful, and it gives me a lot of hope that we're going to make big changes in this country right now. And Jillian, I really appreciate you saying that not only Black kids need to learn Black history, but also white kids need to learn it too. That is really true, that ethnic studies and Black history is for everybody. And when we all know the truth about our country and the contributions of everybody, that's when we could start to see a truly just society. And thanks for the book recommendation. I don't think I have that one. I'm gonna have to get that.
Jillian, if you could put that title in the chat and put the author, that would be amazing. I am looking at our time, and time has escaped us, but it's a wonderful conversation, and thank you all. I would love us to leave with, so on October 14th, Jesse, as well as I'm assuming colleagues, led a nationwide celebration in Free Write commemorating George Floyd on his birthday. The Free Write was around reimagine everything. So thinking about what a future could look like, what would that future look like? That amazing future, just reimagining everything, no barriers, what we have now. So I would love for everybody to lead with just putting a sentence of what that would be in the chat. Okay. So the future, the prompt would be, and Miss Sophie, if you could please write this in the chat. The future I want to live in would be, and then go ahead and add something there. Okay. What would that future look like? You can reimagine everything. What would that look like for you?
Nice. And also, as folks are thinking about what they want to, the world they want to live in, I just want to let people know that the first week of February is the National Black Lives Matter at School Week, and you can ask your teachers, hey, are you preparing for it? Are you getting ready to be part of this? How can we all join this national movement? And I would love to hear if it came to your school this year and what you all did. And I also want to work with Miss Taylor and all the WeAPP folks to help plan for our end of the week celebration again during the first week of February to get some of you WeAPP scholars to perform for us.
Yes.
We have a meeting coming up that I will send an email to you about to help plan for that.
And I just want to, Ms. Crystal and Ms. Sophie, really encourage our scholars. I hear their minds blossoming. I hear them expressing themselves to really expand off of their pieces. Keep writing. And for those who didn't get a chance to share today, really think about what matters to you in the world, because this is how you reimagine, by speaking up and speaking out. So a lot of you planted seeds with the new pieces that you created. Help those seeds grow into what you want your voice to express and the power of you in your community. So I can't wait to hear where you go with these seeds that you've planted. There was a lot of stuff that inspired all of us today. And Jesse, thank you for speaking up and being authentic and being transparent, because many of us have felt the same way, because our culture has not been celebrated and acknowledged the way that it should. So now that we can come up for air and breath, and we see the beauty in ourselves and being bold and brave, I hope that inspires everyone to do the same in terms of your culture, in terms of your language, in terms of your family and your communities. Thank you for your words and your history, your experience.
Oh, I really appreciate you all so much. I can't even tell you.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Go ahead, Julia.
That Mr. Jesse, you have been so inspiring to me, and that like you are just so empowering, and that everything you're doing is literally like just amazing, and that like keep doing you.
Wow, you're gonna make me blush. I really appreciate that. That fills my heart up, and I'm gonna be happy the rest of the day. So thank you for those words.
Keep up the hard work.
Miles, can you finish us out with what is happening next week, please?
So, next week we are going to have another Our Activism is Our Power with King County Council member Zahile to discuss his immigration experience and change in our community. Next week's event will be at the same place, same time.
And I want to tell the scholars today who presented, who were our moderators, excellent job. That is not it. Hey,
yes,
that's challenging for adults to do. And you guys were so natural, and you really brought in some great questions from Mr. Jesse. And we could really tell that you did your research, and keep doing it. I can't wait to hear our scholars for next week as well. And I also want to say thank you to the WeAPP staff, Ms. Crystal, Ms. Jessie, Ms. Sophie, for all of your hard work, and your co-teachers. I see Mr. Russell in the room, and I would love for Crystal and Ms. Sophie, give out some shout outs to your co-teachers. And it looks like Ms. Beach is in the room as well, one of our principals from Orca. So if there are others, please, let's thank them.
Yes, well, you already did Mr. Russell. I already gave him a shout out earlier, but these are three of his scholars, Jennifer, Abdurazak, and Eunice here. Miles is one of his scholars last year, so he's he's got the whole team today. Super excited.
And I want to shout out I had a parent in the room, Miss Shannon from Dearborn. Dearborn really showed out and showed up today. So Miss Shannon, thank you for being with us. And let's keep our community tight and showing up and doing this work. If there are parents, thank you, Miss Shannon. Who you want to volunteer, if there are ways that you can help us become even more entrenched in the community, please do not hesitate to let us know. That is our job.
Shout out to our WeAPP teaching guides, Miss Crystal and Miss Sophie, and WeAPP's Executive Director, Miss Taylor. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you more. All right. Do we have some going out music? And
can we pull it up right now? I was like,
before you pull it up, Miles, read what you you said in terms of what you imagine for the world. I'd love to hear some of these because they're beautiful. Before you start, Miles, I want to say Miss Shannon said, who is a parent from Dearborn, the future I want includes lifting up the voices of these amazing young people and actually enacting change. So wonderful. Thank you, Miss Shannon. Go ahead, Miles. Do you?
I imagine is a world without any forms of oppression and where we all get food, water, shelter, and just the basic necessities that we should all have, because it's not a privilege to be able to eat and just have basic things. And a world where we don't need cops and jails, because when people can eat and have like mental health, we wouldn't need cops and prisons, but we would replace that with restorative justice and actually ways to help people and not lock them up.
Wonderful. And please, as you guys leave the room, please read these. Our scholars really said some beautiful things about how they see our future, a future with no racism. Emma said a future I want to live in would be without any hate towards people of color and everyone. Jennifer said the future I live in, there is no racism. Everyone is equal. Everyone is being nice to each other. So please read these and take them with you and discuss them with your families. And more than discussing them, let's make sure that we're living this life, because that's how we create change. Love you guys so much.
Thank you all so much. What an honor to be with you today. Have a great one.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesse, for joining us. We really appreciate you.
Miss Toya and Miss Sophie.
Yeah.
I just wanted to recommend Ellen Munger for the next host, because in class she has her speeches, especially on women and sexism, is amazing. Every single one is outstanding, and I think that Ellen should definitely be a host.
I totally agree, Jillian. Thanks for recommending and helping a friend out. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye, y'all.
Good job.
Bye, everyone.
Good job, Jonas. Good job, Jennifer, Abdi, Jillian, Miles. Excellent job, you guys.
We can leave
Bye,
now.
everyone.
Yeah, great job.
Bye. Can we leave?
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Eunice.
Thanks, Abdi. Good job, Nabil.
Yeah, great job. Beat that turned up a bit.
Is Eunice still here?
He's not still here. No.
Oh, he left. Too bad. I was gonna. He was a neighbor of ours, and I like that kid a lot. Special hello.
Wait, which kid?
Eunice.
Oh, he was your neighbor.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
a
you
good
guys,
kid.
he's got a lot to say. It was so funny. He was in a group, the breakout room, and I called him Jonas, and he said, "My name is Eunice."
There you go.
Okay.
Stand up for yourself.
I
Eunice.
told him, I said, I appreciate that. Real quick,
Right.
I checked.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, Jesse, let me know when we can talk, set up some time to do some of this work together.
Yes, for sure. So we have a meeting coming up next week that I'm about to send you an email about, but it's Thursday, December 17th at 5:30. Are any of you all free then? So that's the first planning meeting for the local Black Lives Matter at school.
Okay.
And we'll be getting ready to plan the week of action, and we want to end the week with the student talent showcase. So we'd love for WeAPP to have youth get ready to share, poems, songs, whatever their talent is.
Yeah, we definitely need to get them. I hear the thoughts. I hear that the seeds are there. Now we really need to cultivate those seeds, you guys, and get them to a place. Hey, Miles, where they're ready to speak their truth to the community. So if there are scholars who, because they all were, I felt very motivated and inspired by their words, but now it's creating those speeches or those pieces, helping them with that. I feel like it's the next step. So Jesse, I'm available then, but definitely send that information and I'll share it with Crystal and Sophie. And
excellent. We would love to have you there.
Absolutely. Yeah, great job today. That was wonderful.
All right. I appreciate the invitation, and your scholars are incredible.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
All right.
Okay.
I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You do the same. Bye, Miles. I'll see you on Saturday.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, Miles.
What?
Did you guys ever hear back about the logo?
Oh yeah. Let's see. I got an email from they said she was gonna do it like after she was on vacation, Tatiana.
Okay.
So she said she'd do it like when she got off vacation.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything other than that.
Okay, but she
That
did
was a little bit ago, but yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll check it.
Slow process.
I know it's slower than I'm trying to tell you the truth. Molasses, as my grandmother would say. But okay, we're getting there.
All right.
Have a good one, you guys.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Later.
Whew. It was good. I felt like it lacked in terms of just some explanations, like, he was like, we're gonna do glows. Well, what are glows for people who don't know? But I know that mainly everybody in the room was students, but even parents may not know what glows are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just tightening up a little bit of that kind of language, or
we tried to do like a different format than what we've done in the past with the breakout rooms. We actually were supposed to do a whole nother breakout room, and we just way over planned it and really had to like skip some things. So I think it's like also another note for us of like, we do this of just really like simplifying, and the interview portion took a lot longer than we had anticipated. So
which was fine because Mr. Jesse had so much to say, right? And it was just really, he's a teacher, and you could tell he was speaking at a level they could really feel and be engaged and connect with. So I thought that was good. Maybe in a situation, so think about for next week, maybe you have a student selected who has a free write prepared.
Yeah, instead of going to,
No, yeah, because we're not going to be able to go into 2 breakout rooms. It's just an hour.
Yeah, it was too much. Yeah,
it's just an hour. I think an open forum with Gourmet would be good, where students or parents may be able to ask some questions, or you may want to work with your students to have some questions already prepared. Like I said, really look at his Facebook page, because I think that it's really important that people understand the new initiative to provide rent for the Duwamish tribe.
Yeah.
And what is it called? It's pay rent is what it's called. Pay rent. And he is a part of that initiative, or he at least supports it. I saw on his website or his Facebook page where he was saying support Black-owned businesses in the community so that they don't go under, they keep their doors open. So there's a lot to talk to him about. District 2, yeah, but where is District 2? So
I also need a little bit of a re-up on where District 2 is.
right, so I don't want the kids just presenting bios because they're just reading it. Doesn't mean that they have now internalized who that person is and what they stand for.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know, for some reason, I just looked at that email before this one where you like had the different things. And so I follow him on Instagram. And so I was going through his Instagram and I was looking at the criminal stuff that he was doing with King County. So we put 2 things in him for him to talk about zero youth detention. And then the second one was about something around community, like getting things for youth to do instead of like youth necessarily not having things to do. And like that's when trouble happens. So I put those 2 things in, but I liked what you talked about. You put one thing in about COVID and a vaccine that's like on everybody's mind right now. So how can he be sharing some like actual information, not fake news around that? And then the rent Duwamish, that one I think we should really touch on. So we'll definitely look at the script to see how we need to be teaching to that this week.
Right, absolutely. Teaching to it and a conversation around, I think a little history. So it's not just about bringing up pay rent. It's about a student saying, this is what the initiative is. In 19, I can't remember what it was, or 18, blah, 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 the Duwamish were paid, I think it was $25,000. It was something just disrespectful for all of this land that we live on. The students need to understand that, and somebody needs to be able to speak to that as a scholar. So it's really about them understanding the history of the Duwamish and now why it's important that businesses, companies pay back rent because of the land that that we stand on. So they need to understand it. And even with the zero detention, why is that important? What does zero detention mean to them as youth? You know, how are youth who go into the detention system affected and impacted in Seattle? So why is this initiative important? Like, they need to understand what they're talking about. And that can be a part of the discussion. You know, imagine what would it mean to have a zero detention? What does that mean for you? Imagine what does it mean if we paid rent to the Duwamish tribe? What does that mean for our future? What does our future look like if we all decide to be a part of that initiative? Those kind of conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, I want us not to really think about how we don't just graze the top of something or say it as a script. How do they internalize it? Yeah. But this was good from the perspective of, hold on. This was good from the perspective of, I think Mr. Jesse brought in a lot of great information for the kids. And I think that I love that them reading the scripts gives them an opportunity to learn to improve their public speaking skills. So now just think about how they understand some of the issues that are brought up. You know, because he brought up something and I was like, yes, this is what we should be teaching prior to. He brought up that ethnic studies only is an issue now, or it was even made possible because in 1968, the UW Black Student Union fought for it at the UW and also brought in the different Black student unions at the different high schools. Our students should know that information. So it's not that just it's a demand. What's the history behind the demand? How did we even get there? So just think about those things as we teach. They have to internalize and understand. What are you guys thinking? I know it's a lot to process, but. I can't hear you, Crystal.
No, I was saying I'm processing, but yes, I agree. And thinking about how we are going to do that and getting people ready for next week and picking 2 scholars to share. And maybe it's like one group is learning about Duwamish and like the rent and that, and then another group is focusing on either, you know, local black businesses, how are businesses just in general going down, but then how are Black businesses specifically also being shut down at a higher rate, or thinking about the zero youth detention. So we got classes, we don't have very much time, but like if we do have a class, everybody, you can't learn everything, but so one focuses on this, one focuses on this, and they can have something prepared. Oh, you can stop recording. Who's recording? Am I recording?
Oh, sorry, that's yep. Oh shoot. Hold on, how do I take it? Okay.